Go ahead.
Hey guys, welcome to our house to the glory of God.
You're going to go play now?
Yeah.
Okay. So Josiah wanted to do that video. The video entry thing. So anyway, I am Sarah. I'm married to Mark. We have 8 kids at home, with 5 of them being students according to who I have to homeschool under the laws of the state. Some are too little, some are too old. So we have been homeschooling for 23 years, since we brought my oldest son out of public school, and we got the idea in our heads that every moment we are educating and discipling our children, and that you don't need to send them off on the school bus at 5, which I think has just become the normal thought process for people. And some people don't even question that there's an option for this. So let me tell you, there is an option. I've been doing these homeschool series the last couple videos, and here's another one to add to it. The idea of how long does it take to homeschool. I know people who are nervous to homeschool because they feel I don't have 6 hours, 8 hours in my day to homeschool. And that is very true, because a lot of public school is filled with busy work. And this is not like against the public school teachers or anything. I know sometimes when I talk about homeschooling, people think I'm talking against the homeschool teachers. I just want to make sure my thing was on. Which, not the homeschool teachers, the public school teachers, and that is not true. This video, the public school teachers are working hard to keep a room full of students that are the same age on task and learning something. And if you have kids, like I have kids of varying ages, and it's sometimes hard to keep them in the same room all focused on the same task. So I can't imagine doing it with kids that are all different learning levels, but all supposed to be learning the same material. So this is not about them. It's about how you can homeschool in less time than the public school takes, because you don't need to stop homeschool for the kids' bathroom breaks, because you just move on to another kid for the few minutes that child's gone and then go back to that first kid. You don't need to get everybody lined up for the bell to get to the next class. You don't need to give them breaks. Like in high school, we had a 15-minute break between 2 classes. Well, if your classes are going well, you don't need to do a break just because it's time. You can just move on to the next class. So how long does it take to homeschool? Well, it depends on the age of your child, and depends what your child's trying to learn right then and what your philosophy is for school. So I have a bunch of different age levels. My oldest student is 16. He is looking to graduate this year, so he'll be 17 when he graduates. So therefore, we have an entire extra year of schooling to be pushed into the last couple years we've done, because he wanted to graduate early. So if you were in public school and you were trying to put 4 years of school into 3 years of school, it's going to take some extra long days or more homework or whatever you want to say. So are they all happy? He's running inside for something. You can come sit. Sorry, Mark just came outside. Okay. So I'm talking about how long you actually need for homeschooling your kids. So Samuel is trying to finish within this year. So he is putting in more time than he would if he was going to be doing this last year of high school in 2 years, which would be the normal for him. So he is spending about an hour a day working specifically towards the job that he would like to do when he graduates, which some kids at 16 know what they want to do and some kids don't. Either way is fine. He also is going to be working on some tasks that we have given him. He's going to be doing a small engine repair class online, because we think it's important that someone in the house should know how to maintain and fix a lawnmower and maintain and fix those things. I'm not saying it necessarily has to be the guy in the family, but Samuel's interested in these things. And so he's going to be taking a class on that. So that's going to take him time. We want to give him time to do his own personal Bible study. We want him to have time to read good books that we are going to be giving him, that are good, like Christian philosophy, Christian science, Christian different things. We're reading books as a family. Like right now, part of his school is for a half hour to 45 minutes every night we're reading a book out loud to him and our older daughter because we want to be able to discuss it. It's not that they couldn't read it. We could hand them the book and they could read the book.
Oh, yeah.
But we want to be able to discuss this book with them. We're reading 1984 by George Orwell, which is really interesting and has a lot of talking points about what our world looks like and how society has changed over the years and that type of thing. So that would be considered part of his school, but he does not sit down from 8 to 12 to do his school. Like I said, that last part, the read aloud, we're doing most nights for a half hour to 45 minutes. And so I would consider that school time, but it's not a strict, okay, we're sitting at a desk doing our school time.
Right.
So Samuel, when we get going for this year, because we're not officially started yet, we are doing school days here and there, but when we get like all his classes lined up and here's what you should finish in a day type thing, because he's a student who needs more of a list or wants more of a list. Like he wants to know what are the things that I'm responsible for this year and what can I cross off. That's what he wants to know. And so for him, we're going to make up a list. We've already started making up this list, and he'll know that he needs to work for probably 3 hours-ish, and that includes his actual training for the job he wants to do in the future. Because some of I want him to learn typing, but that's part of that training for the future. So probably 3 hours-ish. For a child who's getting ready to go to university, who needs to have certain classes, that might look like more time because you need to finish by a certain time so you can get your records into them. If you're a family who homeschools all year long, and so your child has 180 days over the course of 180 days necessary to do over the course of 365 days, then they might only do half a math lesson a day, and that's totally fine. So your school day is going to look different depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But for your younger kids, a kindergartner, first grader, second grader, they only need 30, maybe 45 minutes of school a day because their brains only can take in so much material, and they are absorbing education all day long. But I'm saying we sit down to write in a book, to read you the words, to do the math numbers, only takes about a half an hour. And the rest of the day, they're still learning. They're watching videos. They're playing outside. They're reading books or looking at books. They're making art. All of those things are educational experiences, but I don't count those as the sit-down school time. So how much time do you need that as a parent you can sit and dedicate to your child? Probably only about half an hour a day. Because as other kids get older, they are able to do more of that work themselves. So you say, here's your math book, and they go do their math lesson, and you're not needed to sit there watching every problem they do. You might need to take 5 or 10 minutes to introduce the math lesson so that they can go do it. You might need to take 5 minutes at this other part of the day to help them understand the story they're reading so they can answer the comprehension questions. You might need to explain a science thing, but the actual hands-on, I'm focused on you and I'm not doing something else is maybe a half hour a day. And that's for most of their schooling, because once they can read well, once they can do math well, there's a lot of things that they can learn on their own. There are even curriculums that are written for this. So like ACE, they send out little workbooks. I think it's 12 or 14 workbooks per year. So you'd have your English lessons would be broken into these 12 workbooks. And so you work through and do so many lessons a day, so many pages a day. But they're written in such a way that the student should be able to take the book and read it and understand what it says. And so a teacher would be needed. Let's say you had a classroom full of these students, because some Christian schools do this material. They would have a whole classroom of kids all doing their own books, and then one student over here would ask the teacher a question, and one student over here would ask the teacher a question. But the teacher's not focused on every student for that whole period of time. When kids are in public school, they are needed to stop, the teacher needs to not be on their phone, not be working on another project. They need to be eyes on that classroom all the time. When you are a homeschooler, you are able to, hey guys, let's do our math lesson at the kitchen table, and I'm going to bring over the bread that I need while you do your math lesson, and I can answer the question of how times tables work while I'm kneading the bread, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that you should always be busy doing other things and not doing school with your kids, but the actual hands-on time isn't as long as most people think. It's kind of like making homemade bread. Making homemade bread requires that I am home for a large period of time during the day because you knead it and you let it rise and you knead it. So I either need to be home for a large period of time or be able to be in and out to do that. But the actual time my hands are in the bowl is very little. The same with homeschooling. With homeschooling, there is a lot of learning going on around you all day long, but you're not needed to be fully focused on them. And so I have 8 kids at home. There are times during the day, even if I wasn't homeschooling, where different children would need my one-on-one attention. This child needs help with, because they wear a diaper, they're little, they need a diaper change. They need mommy's one-on-one attention. I need to make supper. That needs my attention. Maybe a child or two can help me in the kitchen, but that needs my attention. I'm not doing the math lesson with them. But it doesn't take, I don't need to plan out 8 hours of my day, 6 hours of my day or whatever, to fully be focused on school with nothing else happening. So there are a lot of parents who can homeschool who are afraid they can't because they don't have 6 hours to set aside or whatever. But if you have, if you're someone who works from home, where you're able to set your kids up with their lessons before you go into your office for a couple hours, of course, this would depend on the age of your child. Maybe you're a parent who works and you want to be able to school them in the evenings. You're allowed to do that. Homeschooling does not need to be done at a certain time of day or in a certain place. Maybe you're somebody who drives like a delivery van or something like that, and you're able to take your child with you. They can do school on the road. We've done school in doctor's offices and things like that before because it's someplace we need to go. We have a child riding a bike with a helmet and goggles. But you don't need to set aside 6 hours a day to do school, is what I'm trying to say. And your schooling can look different. You can do some school in the morning and then do more school in the evening. Maybe your spouse works weird hours and you're able to do school. Like we used to do school in the afternoon because Mark went to work. I think it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we would do school after that. So we did school from like 2 to 5 is when we got out the books because Mark was gone. So I just wanted to encourage people that if you're interested in schooling, it does not take 6 hours of sitting down at a desk doing that. You can get a lot of other things done. You have time to homeschool all of the kids because not all of them need your one-on-one attention the entire time. And I think people don't understand how I can teach multiple grades, but it's because a lot of the grades are doing their own work. Abigail needs very little structure from me because she just comes and asks me a question. One of her things that she's been doing recently, she's been very interested in budgets. So she decided to try to make a food budget for 2 people for a week and how much that would cost, how much food you needed and stuff. So she'll occasionally come to me and be like, Mom, how many cups of flour in a 5-pound bag? Or what's the price of this on Walmart, which I've now shown her how to look up. Or, do you use 1 stick of butter in that recipe or 2? Those types of things. That takes me 30 seconds to answer. She's able to do days worth of math lessons in 1 day because she's interested in this topic. And so she'll do, I think it took her 2, maybe 3 days of broken up time that she made up this whole budget and looked up the prices, figured out the meals and how much food she would need and everything. So that would have been probably weeks worth of actual math in a math book. But she did it in the course of a couple days with total hands-on time from me, maybe 20 minutes. Here, let me show you how you write down the number of the price of the item and then the number of servings, and we divide that out and you figure out how much each serving is going to cost. Little bit of math help here, but I'd say 20 minutes for her to do a couple weeks worth of math, because we do things on the age appropriate level for the child, the not necessarily even age appropriate, like the needs appropriate for that child, and they do a lot of the work themselves with you as a supervisory role, not hands-on teaching. So I hope that all made sense. If you have any questions or you have anything to add, please write it in the comments below, and we will see you next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God for another education video. See you next time.